All right, guys, back here on Southeastern 14 with Max Barr. We continue our stroll through the transfer portal in SEC basketball, and now that the season is officially over, we're going to start catching up on a lot of these that have happened over the past several weeks. And
Oh
as
yeah.
we said, we're going to do a video on every single transfer in the SEC. And so we will get there. As we say, it just may take a little while to catch up. But we're going to jump into one for the Auburn Tigers today. But before we get there, let's tell you about our friends at Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, NHL. They've got it all there. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. You can get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds, just about every sport out there. So head on over to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. That is Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, Max. JP Pegues heading to Auburn. And
Woo!
this
Big one.
is
Big one.
a big one. A big one. From Furman, of course. Played there for Bob Ritchie. And, tremendous, very talented guard. And, I feel like that is certainly something that when you look at his numbers, 18.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists. Hey, that's a versatile guard. And, let's call it what it is. There were certainly ups and downs, I think, with the guard group for Auburn a season ago. And I think, this is someone that will come in. Obviously, there have been several guys already transfer out with Auburn. So Pegues joins, and someone who feels like he's going to fit right into the way Bruce Pearl likes to play. And we'll see if that turns out to be the case.
A March Madness legend, Pegues is.
The legend.
Legendary shot against Virginia, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He's called like one of the clutchest shooters in the country. Like if he has a highlight reel of like shots with 5 seconds left, like a full on highlight reel of clutch shots. It's crazy. But just to give a little bit of an outlook at where the Auburn backcourt stands right now, guys, this is going to change probably by the day. We're recording this on April 15th. As of right now, Trey Donaldson, Aiden Holloway, and KD Johnson all saying see you later, moving on to other things. And so we got Denver Jones coming back. And then we have Tahad Pettiford, the 4-star freshman, coming in. And now add in the senior JP Pegues. So not too bad at all. It was looking a little bit like, whoa, a little bit of a mass exodus here for the guards. But I think Bruce always had a plan here. Pegues, like we said, one of the clutchest guys there is. My favorite thing about Pegues, just off the top, is who this guy was recruited by. This transfer portal, Blake. He was recruited by all Power 5 conferences, every single one. Just in the SEC, Auburn beat out South Carolina and Florida. Both made hard pushes for Pegues. Outside of the SEC, you had big-time programs like Illinois, Miami, Texas, and Texas Tech, Seton Hall, both Virginia and Virginia Tech. So every conference you had teams that really wanted this guy. Just Furman to Auburn. Hometown is Nashville, Tennessee. He's an SEC guy. Come on, here we go. I'm fired up for Pegues, Blake.
Fired up. Yeah. I think, as always, it's just we talk about the importance of guard play in March. And
Yep.
like you said, it's the guy who has proven he can be a pretty good guard in March. And but also has experience. And I think, as we always say, too, like in this era especially, he's played a lot of minutes. The past 2 years, played at least 31, 32 minutes a game at Furman. Averaged, like we said, 18.4 points this past season, averaged 12 the year before that. And it is really, his numbers have stayed pretty steady. His rebounding numbers, his assist numbers, all that. Just you can look at his scoring, right, and just see how many big scoring games he had. And it felt like that was what Auburn needed, because we talked about kind of just, there were good spurts probably of like scoring from the guards last year, but I don't know if that consistency was always there, just from a scoring standpoint. And so, because it was a team that was patterned around the bigger guys. It was Broome and Jalen Williams and
Yep.
and guys like that. So I think adding someone like this to the mix, again, you can sort of pull up his numbers and you can see all the things that he has done really well. Made 83 threes last year, shot 36% from three. You'll take that, especially again in the SEC, and ability to get to the free throw line, great free throw shooter. And so, yeah, I mean, I like a lot of things that I see with him. The assist to turnover ratio, 144 assists, only 62 turnovers. And again, you're talking about someone who played 34 minutes a game, only had 62 turnovers all season long. That's something else too that stands out when you just think about the percentages there, and to only give it away that many times in 34 minutes a game. That's also had to be an attractive attribute for Bruce Pearl.
Yeah. So to give you guys a little bit of background on the numbers, shout out Mr. Ken Palm. So here you can kind of track the like what you were saying, Blake, the year to year consistency. So just look at 2023 compared to 2024. The minutes, he's top 10 in the SoCon both years. So he's played a ton of basketball. And the SoCon is no slouch of a conference. They've had some pretty good teams there. But the thing that I'm looking at the most that I really took away from this was if you come over to A rate and turnover rate, assist rate to turnover rate, you can see there's a conference only against tier A and B and against tier A. A and B is top 50, top 100 opponents. Okay, so I like to look at that for these mid-major guys and see like, okay, when they played their best teams of the year, how'd their numbers fare? Last year, 2023, come down to the assist to turnover rate and come down to where it meets tier A and B. So this is going to mean JP Pegues' assist to turnover rate when he was playing top 100 opponents, not this past year, but 2 years ago. You have an assist rate of 21, but also a turnover rate of 20.2. So you can tell when he played those top teams, kind of got to him a little bit. He was forced to make more turnovers than he was accustomed to throughout the conference season. Hop up now 1 year, though, up to 2024. Look at that same line, tier A and B, so top 100 opponents. The assist rate is way up, 28.3%. And look at that turnover rate down there at 13. So you can tell just from 1 year to the next, against the top competition, Pegues was far more comfortable, much more of a floor general than the year before. And you like to see that improving year after year, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, again, you look at sort of just the opponents they played. I mean, that's they played Arkansas this past year. He had 21 in that game. I think he had what was it? I think he had 6 assists, 10 to 10 from the free throw line, hit 3 threes. Played Princeton. Just trying to find teams that are somewhat interesting to look at.
Some of the box scores.
So, yeah, like conference play especially, you see the numbers and what he did. And then, of course, you go back to last year, like we said, played a big role, beat Virginia, but you talked about the year-to-year kind of upswing that he had. So he only had 11 and 10 in those 2 games last year in the tournament, but took a big step forward, started off strong, and it just kind of kept going, as you said, through conference play in some of those games. And so, yeah, so I think it's, as always, I'm gonna say, like, you have a guy, and let's say they both have the same skill set. One has played 3 years of college basketball. One has not played any years of college basketball. That's just the way it works these days. I think picking a guy like this up in the transfer portal is significant. And as you mentioned earlier, it's just we don't know what the final roster is going to look like because this stuff changes every day. But we do know, there have been multiple guys transfer out. That opens up these spots. And now, if you look at the possibility of who could return in this guard group and you add him to the mix, obviously you've got some young guys coming in. Yeah, I think it's, at least for now, right? It's like, looks like he's going to fit into the roster fine. We know there's still some big ones to figure out with Auburn roster-wise.
Oh, yeah.
To see who's coming back. We know who we're talking about. But, yeah, so I think it's, an older guy that certainly has a proven track record of consistency, I think. And that's a nice thing.
Yeah, just 2 things I want to touch on before we wrap up. So that assist rate being so high is very important because I'm pretty sure Bruce wants to play the new freshman coming in, Pettiford, off ball. They're both 6'1", and I think that Pegues playing that main point role is what Bruce wants. His assist rate of 26.2% this past year, it ranked 5th in the SoCon. I know it's just a night and day competition, but that would have been top 10 in the SEC. Bump him down a little bit because of the competition. He'd still be like a top 15 assist man in the SEC. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to say is this guy is a pure shooter. I don't have the exact numbers. I wish I did, but he is one of the best distance shooters. He will shoot threes from like 3 feet beyond the line just with, kind of comfortably. That's kind of just his range. Here are some synergy numbers that I picked up from a YouTube highlight video. I do not have a synergy account. If anyone wants to send me one, I will gladly take. Here we go. Unguarded catch and shoot. So when he's wide open, maybe a kick out offensive rebound, he is in the 97th percentile shooters. So the guy can, if he's open, he's knocking that thing down. Pick and roll offense, the 93rd percentile, very efficient pick and roll player. And then his off the dribble jumper, here comes in all that clutch factor stuff. He can really create his own shot off the dribble, 92nd percentile. So, I mean, my gosh, you're getting a great shooter. You're getting a high assist rate, man, a senior. This is about as good as a portal pickup as you can get here in early April.
Yeah, it took 410 shots last year. And I think sometimes you look at the percentages and like, well, the percentages need to go up in terms of the field goal percentage. But also, I think it is, we always say about guys like this who are expected to carry the load for certain
Yeah.
teams. And, Marcus Foster attempted 320. Then there was three guys who attempted like between 240 and 280 field goal attempts. So, like, he was the guy on this
Yeah.
team. And I think, as always, that puts you in the situations where you're going to have those late shot clock scenarios where you have to take shots, and maybe that leads to a few more tougher shots that you have to, attempt. And so, field goal percentage, I know sometimes people really zone in on that, but I think it's a lot of that. It can be situational too, especially when you are the guy that has the ball in your hands as much as he did for Furman. So, yep, I agree. Good pickup for Auburn, and we will see again how the rest of the roster fills out here moving forward. We'll have you covered. Southeastern 14, as we said, we're going to do a video on every single SEC basketball transfer this offseason. So expect 500 plus videos. Just kidding. Maybe.
We got you covered.
We got you covered, even if it is. So, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. Of course, a lot of football, baseball stuff coming too this time of year. So, check it all out there if you're an Auburn fan. And, we'll have a lot more on SEC basketball this offseason. Thanks, as always, for watching. And we'll talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 14.